This is not a drill?
This is not a drill.
Hey, this is not a drill.
This is not a drill.
All right, welcome back to This Is Not a Drill, the Dad Joke Podcast. I am your host, Ryan, the dad, Brittian, the dad abides. So I want to first start by giving a huge shout out to our sponsor, Brittian Life Insurance Group. Brittian Life is an affiliate of North American Senior Benefits, one of the fastest growing IMOs in the nation. And they are currently hiring motivated sales professionals in your area. For more information, go to www.brittianlife.com/careers. If you're ready to take the next step in your career, you're definitely going to want to visit www.brittianlife.com/careers. As soon as this podcast is over, go check it out. So honestly, I'm surprised that you're back. After listening to the first episode, you must be a glutton for punishment. But guess what? I appreciate your support and your patience. I'm still learning how to produce a podcast, but hey, it can only get better, right? So as usual, we will be discussing some of the current events, and of course, there will be a dad joke twist. We will also be having a try not to laugh dad joke competition. But before we get into that, I just wanted to talk about my week a little bit. Not that you wanted to hear it, but you're going to anyways. So, believe it or not, I am not the morning person that my 3-year-old daughter believes me to be. Seriously though, she is up at the crack of dawn every morning. Anybody with small children can probably relate. It doesn't matter what time you put them to bed, they're always going to get up when the sun gets up. Who needs a rooster? Well, I don't know about you, but it's a struggle for me to get out of bed in the morning sometimes. I'm the kind of person that has to set like 20 alarms because I will kind of half awake, snooze 15 of them. So I need those extra 5 to actually get me out of bed. Well, anyways, my kids surprised me with an early birthday present this year. My birthday isn't until the end of September. You can send your gifts later. So it actually was a surprise. Now, before you say, "Aw, how sweet," let me tell you what they got me. An alarm clock. But instead of the traditional buzzer tone, this alarm clock wakes you up by swearing at you. Now, apparently it's harder to wake me up than I realized, huh? It's the thought that counts, right? So I decided to try it out. Since my kids clearly think I need it, and I'll tell you what, it was quite a rude awakening. Oh! Now, this may or may not come as a surprise, but I'm actually an avid thrift store shopper. Love a good bargain. And it's a really good way to store up for a yard sale. What do you mean? Well, you get all this stuff and you have all these extremely ambitious plans for it, then it ends up in your garage for the next 2 years. But hey, 2 years later, boom, your garage is filled and now you're ready for a yard sale. You can thank me later. So I was at a thrift shop last week and I saw an old school boom box. You know, like the ones they used to carry on their shoulders to serenade people in the windows. Anyways, it did have a little note on it. And the note said, "Radio works, but button stuck at max volume." Now, me being a bargain hunter, I really thought to myself, I can't turn this down. The buttons are stuck. Yeah, okay. Enough about my spending habits. Let's keep going. So I caught myself telling my son the other day that if he kept crossing his eyes, they were going to get stuck like that. And it got me thinking, I wonder if there's any truth to that. I wonder where that started. You know, I heard it all the time growing up. Parents, grandparents, teachers, they all said it. So I decided to Google it. Spoiler alert, didn't figure out where it started from, but I did learn about a lot of other myths I heard growing up. So I decided to make the podcast just a little bit more educational and bust some of those myths. How many of you heard this one growing up? You have to wait 45 minutes after eating before you go swimming so you don't get stomach cramps. Yeah, we all heard that one. Guess what? False. I know. I was just as upset as you are right now when I found out. Kind of made me want to call my parents and fuss at them for all of that missed pool time I would have had as a kid at the local pool. Mom, Dad, you've got some explaining to do. So it turns out there was actually no scientific basis behind that claim, and it was believed to have originated from a Boy Scout handbook in the 1900s. Way to go, Boy Scouts. Ruin it for everybody. Now, don't say I didn't teach you anything. So I actually learned a lot more myths, but that's way too much education for this episode. So keep listening to future episodes to learn more. Or I guess you could Google it then yourselves, but where's the fun in that? So moving on to the next portion of our podcast. Now it is time for DNN, Dad News Network. It's a news channel that'll make your father proud, unlike some of your life choices. I'm always reading articles, and these are just some of the ones that made me chuckle a little, and I figured I would share them. After all, that's kind of what this whole podcast is about, right? So, I saw a troubling story about a man in South Carolina hospital this week. Scary stuff. Apparently, he was hospitalized because he had swallowed 6 plastic horse figurines, and the toys were lodged inside him. Now, I'm not even going to ask why this man swallowed 6 plastic horses, but doctors are having trouble removing them. They've done a few surgeries to get them out with no luck. Whew, that sounds pretty tense. I'm sure this guy's got to be on edge a little bit. So when the surgeon was asked about the health of the hungry horseman, the doctors described his condition as stable, and they're trying to rein him in. That's right. I just made a horse joke. Now for another farm animal in the news. So last week in Israel, a freed bull raced through Israeli streets and into a building. And it was not part of like a run with the bulls challenge. I guess a bull got out of his pen or something and was causing havoc in the streets of Israel. So in Jerusalem, a bull escaped from its pen last Monday morning, setting off a panic scene in the streets before entering an office building and evading capture for almost an hour as it scampered through the hallways. I mean, bulls are pretty big, but it took an hour to get this bull. That's crazy. So when authorities finally caught the bull insisted to the officers that it was a big misunderstanding, citing, "I'm so sorry, guys. I thought this was the china shop." Bull in a china shop. All right, moving on. We're back in the United States, and this state always has the best news stories. I will give you one guess. One guess. Yeah, you're right. It's Florida. Except for this time, it's a Florida woman. So in Titusville, Florida, a woman with an open bottle of Jack Daniel's whiskey and a brown paper bag was arrested for driving a golf cart on Florida's busiest interstate while drunk. So I'm pretty sure just driving a golf cart on any interstate or a road or anything like that is a pretty big deal. She was on the busiest interstate in Florida and she was drunk. Now, the officers detained the woman and she insisted that she was not drinking and driving and that she only took shots at red lights, because she wasn't driving when she drank, just after. All right, so another article that involves an incident on the highway. In Louisville, Kentucky, a semi-trailer loaded with beer turned over last Wednesday on Interstate 71 ramp I-265 in northwest Louisville, spilling hundreds of cases of beer onto the highway. Now, nobody was injured, and the driver wasn't arrested, but officers did give him a heavy citation for a major party foul, bruh. Come on, dude. Party foul? Spilling all that beer, bruh? Seriously? Oh, bummer. All right. If all this news about accidents on the highway have you wondering if you and your family are protected in the terrible event of your passing, you should probably start looking into getting some life insurance. Brittian Life Insurance Group specializes in life insurance, and they have a team of state-licensed insurance brokers across the United States that can help find the best protection for you and your family. Visit www.brittianlife.com/questions to have someone reach out to you about securing your legacy. That was a pretty smooth transition, don't you think? All right. So this next article may actually come as a shock to some of you who enjoy the Marvel Avengers series. In recent years, Marvel has really transformed their comic books into a hot Hollywood universe. I mean, it's literally called the Marvel Universe. So I'm sure you guys have at least heard of Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Loki. My dog is named after Loki. Doctor Strange, Thanos, many more. Many of these superheroes have gotten their own movie series, but apparently producers are struggling to find a place for the Hulk in upcoming movies. One of the producers has mentioned, just because of the sheer size of the Hulk, perhaps they could use him to place in-movie advertisements, trying to generate a little extra revenue, I see. Now, I'm not sure how fans would react, but honestly, it kind of does make sense. Essentially, he's just a giant banner. If you don't get that one, go ask your kids or one of your neighbors. Bruce Banner, giant banner, that's good right there. That's comedy gold. Okay, last one, and it involves a name that I'm sure you'll know, Elon Musk. He's always making headlines these days, whether it's talks about buying Twitter, Dogecoin, Tesla, or SpaceX, especially the latter. The guy has Starlink satellites in orbit, and he's using them to try and provide wireless broadband internet to millions. He's talked extensively about colonizing Mars, and now it seems he's floating talks about a new project. It's rumored that he is building a 5-star restaurant on the moon. Crazy, right? Well, an endeavor like that does not come without difficulties. A reporter caught up with Musk and asked him what was the biggest struggle to overcome in his lunar restaurant project, to which he replied, "Great food, no atmosphere." This is on the moon. There's no atmosphere. Come on now, I don't think you understand the gravity of that joke. It was stellar. Something else that's stellar is the fellas over at Dion Machine Services Incorporated. Metal engraving, they make gifts, they make all kinds of cool stuff. I got a really cool tumbler engraved by them. They've made keychains. Seriously, check them out at www.dionnemmachineservicesinc.net, or just check them out on Facebook, Dion Machine Services Inc. on Facebook. Now it is time for my favorite part of the podcast, the Try Not to Laugh dad joke competition. Now, this week's was a little different because I did it on the golf course. So it might be a little harder to hear things, but you can still not laugh, because that's kind of the point. Here we go. So today's dad joke challenge is with none other than my brother, Daniel Brittian. Out here playing a round of golf terribly, backing up everybody behind us. Let's see neither one of us are going to win golf. Let's see who wins the dad joke challenge. Found it. Sometimes Bigfoot gets confused with Sasquatch, yet he never complains.
What do you call a what do you call a detective that solves crimes accidentally? Sherlock Holmes.
The best way to catch a squirrel? Climb up a tree and act like a nut.
Weasel walks into the bar. Bartender says, "What do you have?" Pop goes the weasel.
What do you think about your play today?
Crushing it.
Horse walks into a bar. Bartender says, "Hey." Horse says, "Sure." Yeah, try. What's red and smells like blue paint?
Huh.
Red paint.
Why do golfers always travel with an extra pair of trousers?
I don't know.
In case they get hole in one.
What are you doing?
It's really important to make sure that your balls are clean.
So I had the most incredible game of golf last week. Not only did I get a birdie, I got a squirrel and a rabbit too. The other day, my wife asked me to pass her the lipstick. I accidentally passed her a glue stick and she still isn't talking to me. Last one.
Is it really already?
I don't know about the hole. Let's talk about the beer. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This has been another episode of This Is Not a Drill, the Dad Joke Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, the Dad Brittian. Special thanks to everybody that actually listens, both of you. This podcast was sponsored, again, by Brittian Life Insurance Group, www.brittianlife.com. Whether you're looking for a new career or you need help with life insurance, check out brittianlife.com.